All right, welcome everyone to the third ever live stream of Solomon's Crown podcast with your host Pop and Woollyman. And today we are going to look at the big viral scandal that's going on with JustPearlythings and pretty much Black YouTube. But without further ado, I'm just going to go straight into a video.
Before you do that
Number
though,
one,
before you do that though,
oh,
before
what's
you
up?
do that though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you can see whenever we
Oh
go
yeah, that
live
important
every
thing.
single
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Do that thing.
Yeah, you got to put that in there.
I mean, if they like our stuff, they'll do it.
We appreciate
Hopefully.
y'all and everybody who has. We have 380 followers at this point, and that is amazing because we started at 147. But
This year. So, but
let's
without further ado, we're gonna look at this video. This like the 10th video that O'Shea put out on Just Pearl,
he's gonna
basically
like
about this whole controversy. But just to put it into a little bit of context, since this isn't the first video that O'Shea has put out against the whole or about the whole Just Pearl thing. Pretty much, Just Pearl. I don't remember where she comes from, but she blew up last year. I mean, she literally went from maybe a couple thousand subscribers to a million in 1 year, right? She pretty much got her start from Kevin Samuels. I think she was on Kevin Samuels' show for a bit. Rest in peace. She kind of got some of his ideas and stuff. Got some help from some of the manosphere, I guess you'd call them in YouTube. Blew up, and she went to London to do her show, and her podcast, her whole company or her business, she employs a lot of blacks, right? A lot of black British people of African descent, Caribbean descent. That's pretty much a diaspora up there. So, what? So a lot of people, honestly, have been calling her out, saying that it's kind of strange that this white girl is in black YouTube in men's spaces saying all this stuff. But I guess in a way, it was kind of like a novelty because she was a white girl talking about men's issues. But anyways, long story short, um, since she has a big platform, so I guess she wanted to pivot from the dating advice and male and female dynamics to kind of like political stuff. But guess who she had on her first as her first like pivot? She had Nick Fuentes, right? Who is a known white nationalist, a self-proclaimed racist on her platform. And she and Nick Fuentes kind of made some comments, and she kind of made some comments that were pretty insensitive to black people, especially considering that 90% of her crew are black people. But anyways, guys, let's go straight
didn't
into the video that we're
Adam
talking about.
22 do the same thing?
Yeah, Adam 22 is the same thing, and we're gonna talk about this whole situation. But let's see what O'Shea has to say about it.
Particular email, and it says more racism from Pearly. So I read the email and it says, dating music. Hello. I run a very small channel called Mike TV. I'm not sure if you have seen the content Pearly put out over a year ago, where she is reacting to Black history as if it pertains to the slave trade. I have more footage if you're interested. So I go and I check out the person's YouTube channel, and this appears to be Mike TV, formerly the Mr. Real Estate channel. So let's check out what the clip entails, and then we'll come back.
Why do you think?
One man's on dialogue
Channel.
right now.
So let's check out what the clip entails, and then we'll come back.
Why do you think?
Are you serious right now?
Oof.
Going through some technical difficulties here. I don't know what's going on.
Well, at least it's a live stream. We can edit this out later.
Yeah.
Just refresh the video. It's gonna do an ad.
That's embarrassing.
スモールビジネスのオーナーとして多くの顔を持っているけど、
Oh, this man got the Japanese ads going.
All right, let's try that one more time, guys. That was
Let me get this bag. Thinking, oh,
entails, and then we'll come back.
okay.
why do you think black people sold black people into the slave trade? They weren't
See, I've-
thinking. They weren't thinking. Oh, they're black. I shouldn't. They're thinking.
Yeah.
Let me get this bag.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Don't clip me. Don't clip me.
Cringe.
Yeah. When
Just racist, bro. Yo.
Oh, that was hella cringe, bruh. Like that white dude that tries to get into the group of black dudes, and he kind of like says something to kind of fish to test the waters to see if he's in or vibing enough. That's kind of like the vibes I'm getting, bro. It's kind of cringe,
She
bro.
definitely should have stayed in her realm of expertise. But like I said before, once people get to a certain status, then they think like, I'm kind of tired of this this same old content. It's getting views and everything like that. But let's try to push the
Yeah, let's
button.
finish this. Finish this. What he's trying to say.
gosh, I'm
Because they had.
And she knew, even with her token black puppet friend up there, that she was still talking some BS because, oh, don't clip me, guys. Don't clip me. Don't clip me. Too late, honey boo boo child. You done got clipped up.
So, guys, that is a very interesting take from Pearly. She likes to talk about black issues. Now, I just typed in just Pearly Things black women, and I end up with like a clip like this. Black women are losing because of this. Now, see, just Pearly Things is sort of passive aggressive. So now, what do I really mean? She takes these little digs at the black community, but the most genius thing that she does is she allows other people who are black to express their dissatisfaction with dating black men or black women
That's
or whatever
true.
on her show.
That's
Just
true.
like she did with Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, who got into it with King Rich's girlfriend, she also just sat back idly by and let this go down. And see, the thing is, people are trying to confront just Pearly Things on
So just to give you guys a little bit of insight on that little tidbit, which is kind of I want to go on a little bit of a tangent here. It's still important though, but pretty much what O'Shea was pointing at was during that interview, King Riches, who's another YouTuber. I've been watching him for a while now, and he was like, kind of struggling. Not like struggling, but like ever since he got with Pearl, like he blew up, right? So he's under her employ or partnership, right? So King Riches apparently was dating this Italian girl it was her, Nick Fuentes, and Just Pearl, and they were pretty much talking about making jabs at like black people, kind of, where like, oh, like Nick Fuentes was like, oh, like I came in late because I'm Italian, ha 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 ha, and it's like, oh, don't worry, Blessing, who is her black or African employee, was like, oh, he was late too. It's like, oh, because he's black, ha 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 ha, and like jokes like that, and pretty much something came up where um the Italian girl, was like, oh, you make your Italian ancestry like in shame or something like that. Like they wouldn't accept you. We don't claim you. And Nick Fuentes was like, oh, we don't claim you either. The Italians don't claim you either with your black boyfriend and stuff like that. So that was kind of wild. And Pearl didn't say anything, right?
Of course,
So
not,
that's
because
one.
she's
That's
just a moderator at that point.
hmm And then another thing too which was wild. I mean, we probably should have done an interview on this, but just for the sake of time, King Riches made a video responding to the backlash, right? And he was like, "Oh, I don't see nothing wrong. Um, people have controversial people on their platform all the time, and I don't think Pearl is racist. All this sort of stuff, yada yada yada." this and that, pretty much defending her, where it's like you literally had a racist on your platform denigrating people like you and yourself, and even your girlfriend was trying to defend you, and like you pretty much like folded. And another thing too, which that points to, is kind of like the rift between what people would say are fundamental Black Americans and foreign blacks, right? So technically, I would be considered a foreign black because both of my parents are from Jamaica, right? And Will would be considered a foundational Black American, right? So the whole consensus is that, uh, or the whole thing is that it's said that foreign blacks don't like foundational Black Americans because they're said that they're lazy and they have all this opportunity and they don't do anything. And then foundational blacks don't like foreign blacks because they are snooty and they think that they're better than foundational blacks, and they pretty much like they get buddy and chummy with white people a lot of the times.
But
and
we've
and
already done a video on that where
yeah,
it's literally foreign blacks come to America and they
yeah,
usually end up in nicer neighborhoods than the
hmm,
hood. And who are they surrounded by? They're
white
surrounded by
people,
whites. So
yeah,
of course whites are going to be like, "Oh, you guys don't want to be like these blacks who
yeah,
live in the ghetto, who live in the hood. They got a church's chicken on the corner. You already know you've gone too far," type
hmm,
stuff. So and then once we actually get together, because I went to in San Diego, California, there's a lot of different cultures and everything like that. I think
hmm,
that for the most part, I mean, we got Asians, Hispanics, blacks, we got foreign blacks, we got foreigners in general. So for me, it's a little bit different because I grew up around a lot of different cultures as a young black man. And to be honest, I hung out with a lot of the foreign blacks more than I did some of the regular blacks because it's like they say is the foreign blacks come in and they're a family unit, right?
yeah,
And as we said before, the difference between the black community and other communities like the Jewish community, the Asian communities,
it's
the
family.
yeah, they I saw an interview the other day where a Jewish guy went up to a black guy and he was like, "You see this dollar? You'll never see this dollar." And he thought it was some racist stuff. And he was like, "No, it's nothing about race. It's the fact that I'm going to go spend this dollar at a Jewish restaurant and they're going to use a Jewish bank and they're going to use a Jewish dry cleaner. And the money never leaves the community."
Yeah,
And I believe they said that every black dollar in the black community is out of the black community within 6 minutes. So
yeah,
there's
I've
a
heard that.
different mentality between foundational blacks in America and foreign blacks because even with the blacks that I went to, they were from Africa, Kenya, all these places, and literally went to school, went home, worked in the family business, like family was among everything. Even in school, if they were cousins, they were just like, "Yo, I'm defending my cousin to the end of days." It didn't matter what their cousin was, how much they messed up, what they were doing. It was at the end of the day, I'm not choosing anybody over my family. And we as foundational blacks don't do that. We have dudes who will literally like do all types of diabolical stuff, but that's a whole nother topic.
Well, we went off tangent a little bit. I just wanted to explain, like, give you guys a little bit more context. But let's finish up what O'Shea's talking about here.
Issues or discussing things with her. Why is she talking about this? And some people were even telling her not to apologize, which I'll get to in a minute. But now here's the situation.
Wow.
And I want to talk to black men about this. You see, again, you brothers out there believe because this is the black men. A lot of black men who like white women. She's willing to accept a black penis. So because she accepts a black penis, she's not racist. She's doing things.
So we take a break while that's playing. I mean, I've heard that too. Is like, oh, I can't be black. I got a black boyfriend.
Yeah,
Like, and you know,
She's not.
The dudes who are like, oh, I can say the N word. I got black friends. Like,
nah, you
like,
good.
maybe in your hood they let that, but like that's the thing. You have to be aware of your surroundings, as you said. And when she did that, she said that whole comment. She was kind of like, "Is this okay? Is this okay? Is this
Yeah, she did that.
okay?"
She did
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
like,
she did that.
and of course the homegirl was just kind of like, I mean,
Yeah,
the
like
fact that she
yeah,
said, "Oh, they were just trying to get a bag," cringe, cringe. Like
that's hella
they wasn't
cringe,
even
bro.
thinking about bags back then. They didn't. To be honest,
Eggs.
they looked at people as it's always been about wealth. If I got money, I can sell slaves. I don't. I look at them as property. I look at them as a item that can help me get in further in life, and I don't care what they do. And the thing is too, they talked about like white slaves and all this other stuff, Hispanic slaves, um, and
All
at the end of the day, you cannot justify getting a bag is the reason why they
right.
sold
Is
slaves.
so this is the biggest reason. I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, a little bit, just real quick. But this is one of the biggest reasons why this whole thing blew up. Was I believe Nick Fuentes said something, right? Said something, and Pearl brought up the movie Roots, right? Remember Roots?
Yeah, yeah.
I think uh,
My name is
LeVar
Tucker.
Burton was in there, played Kuta Kente.
Yeah,
You
we did
know
a
those.
skit for
We
that in
all
high
know.
school, and our
You older
South
guys know what I'm
African
talking
teacher did not like that. She was a white lady and she was from South Africa. And she was like, "I'm offended by that." And I'm like,
about. Whatever.
"We got the darkest dude we could find in class playing Toby. Like, you can't tell me." I mean, Kuta Kinte, because that was his actual name, not Toby. Yeah,
But uh she pretty much said something to the effect of like, "Oh, I heard that Roots was made to kind of make slavery look worse than it was." And it's like, that's one of the wildest things you could ever say. That's like the wildest takes in 2023, the wildest takes of the century, bro.
I
Because
don't
it's like,
care
first
what
of
you
all,
say. If
it's
you
it's
hit
like,
the dude in the back with the whip, that's already too far. Period.
uh, but the thing is, it's like, okay, first of all, slavery could never be the depths of how bad cattle slavery was, and I use the word cattle slavery. You can't depict that on TV.
At all.
First of all, I don't think there's been ever anything called the Middle Passage in any other historical event of slavery. If any of you guys know about history, the transatlantic trade, we call it the Middle Passage. So pretty much, give you a little bit of history lesson right here. So pretty much, the slaves came from West Africa. The Europeans brought them from West Africa through the Middle Passage, which was a long, treacherous trek through the Atlantic Ocean, where people, where human beings, were packed up like sardines with shit and piss and blood and sweat and all this stuff on each other through how many thousands of miles that trek was to the Americas, right? First to the Caribbean, because I think that's where the first incident of slavery happened, right? And then they would get the sugar cane and the other forgot whatever crops they were growing in the Americas, tobacco, sugar cane, that comes to mind. And then they would go up to America and sell the rest of the slaves up there, and then they would go back to Africa, right? And it was called chattel slavery specifically because um, the enslaved Africans were chained up. Some of them had like neck braces and stuff, so they couldn't move their heads and stuff like that with chains, and they were moved like cattle, right? I mean, we're talking about back in Jamaica specifically, because I know this for a fact. They had this thing called buck breaking. You ever heard the term buck
Oh
breaking?
yeah, freaky, yeah.
That was literally because to assert dominance, the white slave owners would literally um, do some stuff to the
Fornicate.
strongest, yeah, fornicate with the strongest male that they could find publicly in front of the rest of the slaves to to break the spirits or break the buck, right? So that's one. In the South, they would literally throw black babies to alligators for sport. They would, kill black men for looking at white women for no reason, way past slavery.
Yeah,
Chop
that
off
was
their
even
peppers,
during
put
like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and
yeah,
I
breed
mean even
beautiful
Ahmaud
animals.
Arbery, we
Yeah,
did that, and that
yeah,
was in Georgia, like
yeah,
what 2 3 years ago.
yeah, all sorts of stuff. all sorts of stuff, all sorts of stuff that happened from slavery and beyond, especially in the Americas. Because at least in the Caribbean, I think I don't remember what year it was, but I know for a fact that England and some of the other European powers they abolished slavery in the Caribbeans and they kind of left them alone. But in Americas, it was especially bad. So for you as anyone to say that, oh, like Roots was just it was just an embellishment, blah 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 blah. That's extremely wild. So that's what got everyone in a whole frenzy with Pearl.
But we could even
So
talk about I was in Little Rock in 2010 to 2014, and even my barber would be like, "Yo, stay away from these Ville towns."
mhm,
My
this what they
mother,
call them, sundown towns or sunrise
I don't
towns.
know, but I know even back in the day when we used to drive to Mississippi to go see family, my mom would be like, "If you're ever driving out here and at night, you better make sure you better stop at a gas station. I don't care how far you got to run, but do not stop in the middle of nowhere." And this is in America, so
Hmm.
I
I,
mean, there's still, I mean, who knows what's still going on? Because, like, if we think about America in a whole, like, there's some deep South places where it's just like the last video did. People show up to places thinking, like, oh, I'm in America. That's not going to happen. And then you end up on Channel 6 News, like, black man lynched in whatever backwood state or backwood city. And it's just like, oh, we don't know. Cops don't
no,
know what
actually,
happened.
you probably wouldn't hear anything because a lot
That
of those
too.
places they're all connected, so you just get disappeared.
Even Ahmaud Arbery, like his mom had to literally change a law in the state of Georgia just so that she could get justice for her son who was recorded being shot in the middle of the street for running through a neighborhood, just doing regular stuff. And even in that video that we did, we'll link it. They said that the city was separated by train tracks. So there was certain sides of the city that you didn't go to if you were black. And that's in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, slavery has been one of the most destructive forces on black people in general, even going back to Africa, because like a lot of the backlash, or I would say, the tribalism and the separation and stuff, a lot of European powers took advantage of that. So I mean, but
Yeah,
that's just going on a tangent, but that's just to give context of how bad chattel slavery in the Americas was. And for someone to downsize that, especially someone who employs black people, that is absolutely wild. But at the end of the day, to be honest, it's our fault, as a
just
collective
like the
of black
Gucci,
people because we let people,
Balenciaga shit.
yeah, because we let people come in and do all this other stuff. Because why didn't like say a black woman or a black man come in and have a channel this big? A lot of it is honestly because we don't support them. Because I follow a lot of black women actually, YouTubers that talk about men's issues and stuff like Shay Sade and
Pink Hook
Chantel
lesson.
Shimon. I even put you on to some of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I guess black people kind of have to take a L on this one
You did
because
put me on a B Simone, and respectfully, I do not like that chick. She's so disrespectful, bro. She's so disrespectful. And the thing is, like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to buy your makeup. I heard what you said about Dr. Martin Luther King, and he really wasn't shit. Like, bro. Oh,
you're wild, bro.
there's a lot of
Racist,
things I would
but
say,
you never
but once equal rights happen,
You're stupid, bro.
nah, I'm just joking.
But anyways, let's finish up the video.
see Just Pearly Things reviewing clips of those people who've also had a history of, let's say, something similar to slavery. Let's say, like what we call the untouchable community. She never talks about that, does she? She won't pull up a clip talking about that. Or let's say the Muslim community with the 9/11 thing, or LGBTQ. She never says something about sad music, LGBTQ community. This don't clip me. Oh no. But see, here's something that she knows. You see, the black community will let her clip her, or some brothers outside of the black community Like you have this one guy called the Black Conservative, which I'll deal with him a little bit later. But then don't
Yo,
apologize
you
to
gotta
woke
hit this.
liberals. I mean, it's crazy. This is not being a woke liberal. This is you have this individual who's talking, who has this is a habit. This is not like, oh, she said something one time and something very bad happened out of it. No. This is constitutive with her. If she's not saying something offensive or passive aggressive, she just lets black people come on there and she does it for them. See, we need to just agree that she doesn't respect black people. And it's okay if she doesn't, she just needs to admit that. But the problem is not even really her, because people who exhibit passive aggressive, will be considered racism tendencies, I don't really deal with that. I deal with the blacks who accept it. That's the issue. And I want you to know, like, if you're going to deal with somebody, you should get something out of it, right? That's the thing. You know, like if I work hard or if I sacrifice in the business or even in the gym, I expect to get something out of it. Yeah, I would. Like if I work out, if I study every day, I expect to get good grades. What I've seen some of the brothers in the Black manosphere do or in Black YouTube do, for me, here's what I'm getting at. You guys are simping for this lady who has a history of disrespecting your community. So if you're going to participate in that, the one question that I have for you is, what do you get out of this? What do you get in return? Like something, and I can see why somebody like this Black conservative guy, because he's, I mean, you know, the Black conservative perspective channel, I can see why maybe he'll do this. It makes sense because he gets a ton of views, a ton of money, which I still can't explain why he does that. That doesn't make, but it makes a little bit more sense because he's making a lot more money than the guys who are doing it in the comments. So at least he has a financial payoff to like have his opinion, which I don't agree with, and it's never really worth it, but he has more of a reason. But you guys in the comments who you get nothing out of protecting this behavior, what do you get out of it is the question. Want to know what you get out of it? Nothing. You get nothing from it. Your situation never changes. You lose more respect in the community that you hate. You get no more opportunity to monetize your community because nobody who talks like this has a community, can make money off their people. Nobody who thinks like that can become successful. Period. It doesn't exist at all. But when you tell Negroes this, they get upset. At least Candace Owens gets some money from it. At the very least. The guys in the comments who are out here mad at me, pissed off, what do you get from it? Like, you don't, nothing about your life is going to change. And here's the kicker, right? They don't like you more. People actually respect people that can enforce things, people that have power. So the more power you give her to be able to say those things about your people, she's going to make more money. She's going to be able to come into what you consider Black spaces, social media spaces. She's going to invest into more Black employees, take the money from those Black employees or from the system, and she's going to build more wealth off of you while you don't have anything from the industry that she's building off of you, which is completely fine because it's capitalistic and this is a business. But you don't get nothing. You don't get any. In fact, you get less respect. Imagine and I remember when the 9/11 thing happened, and it was open season on Muslims in America for the most part. When I mean open season, I meant that you could say almost anything at that time about Muslims. In America, people were saying everything, and it wasn't considered so much of a hate speech as it is now. If Muslims just sat there and said, you know what, we're going to accept this. No, they didn't say that, right? They're like, look, we got to stop these people from talking about our community and whatever we need to do. We need to stop this.
All right, we got pretty much the main point of what we're trying to say, of what he's trying to say and what we're trying to say. And, you know, O'Shea is absolutely right. He's absolutely right. We need to, like, how is it that, you know, after how many years of slavery in America that, you know, Black people are still on the bottom? Like, anyone can come in and do this stuff. Like,
all right, let me break this down for you.
You've been talking about Adam 22. You can talk about Adam 22 stuff.
Like, one, you're black. Two, blacks don't support blacks unless they're radical to a certain extent or ratchet. We've proven that by doing videos about stuff that really doesn't matter. People love that stuff. If you go against anything that blacks actually like, such as designer clothing, rap, all this other stuff, if you say anything negative about that, then you're just a hypocrite and this, and that. Um, you're black, so nobody respects you really to a certain extent. I mean, people respect you. I'm just being a little over exaggerating with that. But to like he's saying is even that makes me look at Pearl differently because while she does say a lot of good things, she did not stay in her lane. And that's the thing is like we essentially as a black community gave her the power. And granted there if we're gonna separate foreign blacks from American blacks, like she probably wouldn't have been as successful
Oh,
in
no.
America because it's harder to deal with American blacks rather than foreign blacks. And the thing about it is, foreign blacks, just based on what I've seen in general, they're not looking. So they got clout off of Pearl, right? They are going to take that money and build their life up to whatever it is, and they're riding the gravy train, right? Okay, I want to be a part of this because I know that it's going to make me money. And as far as like the moral and value aspects of it, I'll do this until it doesn't benefit me. But now that they've gained money off of that, they can do whatever they want. But the thing about it is, what blacks are going to support a dude who was like, "Yo, I was on just pearly things, and I'm trying to start my own podcast." We can even think about it. Remember back in the day where it'd be like you were in the hood and you were like, "Yo, let's go to Six Flags," right?
Mhm.
Everybody's out of school. We all got money. We all working jobs. Yo, let's go to Six Flags. Never happened. Oh, yo, even RDC World Wyland did a
Yeah.
talk where like, yo, we need to travel. Everybody's traveling. We need to travel. And he's as soon as he was like, yo, let's see how much it is to go to the Bahamas, and it was like, oh, the tickets is like 1,000. And before he could even finish, everybody was gone. And
Hmm.
he was like, yo, what's going on? He kept going down. He's like, well, we go to Six Flags for like $70, and everybody's like, oh yeah, that sounds like something we could do. Like the fact is as the black community is, it's going to stay at the bottom. Period. People don't want to take responsibility for things. Nobody wants to build with each other. And then the ones that are trying to build, everybody's just trying to get a free meal ticket off of them. So it's like, okay, this dude's doing good already. Let me hop in here, provide absolutely nothing, but act like I'm providing something, mooch
Hmm.
off of him, gain some clout off of him, and then I'm a dip.
It's the same thing I was hearing with the Jewish community, where I think I saw something from Valuetainment from Patrick Bet David, I think his name is,
I
but
know
he
who you're
was
talking
saying that he never forgets some advice that he got from a Jewish guy that he was working with or something, or he was getting mentored from, and he said in the Jewish community, when one person makes money, five people makes money, right? Five people make money. Like everyone is up, right? So it's like if I have a car dealership and I'm making money, that means that this person over here that owns a gas station, he's making money. And this person over here who owns a restaurant, he's making money. Like everyone is
the
making money
dry
together.
cleaners and the grocery
Hmm.
store and the
Like,
convenience store and
like, like
everything.
somehow, yeah, somehow everyone is making money. And then it goes to another thing where you were talking about where it's like with foreign blacks, we seek a lot of times they seek individualistic like progress, like money,
Hmm.
right? So I was about to send you this guy, and he's this really famous guy on YouTube, really great entrepreneur called Alex Holomzy. I forgot I'm butchering his last name, but I'll send it to you. He's like a guy that always wears this flannel shirt and this band-aid beard, and he's kind of buff, and he makes like insane amounts of money. But he pretty much said that in one of his talks was that in life, in business, you can either be the person who's the earner or the learner, right? So you could either be the person that's like you get to a certain point and you'd be like, okay, I am where I am. I'm making a certain amount of money. I'm good. right? And that's usually the person that's like, he's a bot, like he gets into an industry, he gets a little bit of experience, then he moves to another industry, another part of the industry, where he makes more money and makes good money, but he's a top fish, but he has no one above him to learn. So he's stagnant. He's a top dog, but he's a top dog in a small pond, right? He's a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
But learner who wants long-term gain, long-term wealth, is usually the person that's like he always finds that the next smartest person in the room above him. So he's always learning, always improving. And then he moves up to another company and he might get a little bit less money than before, but now he has better people than before. So he learns from them and he learns from them and he learns from them. I think that's one of the things that we're missing in the black community, right? Because I think a lot of us in the black community we're so used to attaching blackness with poverty and blackness with ignorance and blackness with struggle. That's why you see like a lot of these black entertainers and black artists, they, as soon as they get money, they go with like a white girl or something, or as soon as they get money, they spend it on rims and jewelry and all this sort of stuff. I know rims is kind of outdated, but they spend it on like stupid stuff, right? They do wild stuff, right? So instead of us coming together and being like, okay, like a couple of us have money, like what can we do to invest in ourselves to be ourselves better? What can we invest to make our communities better? We're just like, we don't care about the learning of it or the progress of it. We're just like, oh, like I'm up right now, like I just care about the money, I don't care about anything. And it reflects in the music, it reflects in our culture where it's like we're all about money. We don't care about the process, we don't care about learning, we don't care about self growth, you know what I mean? And I think that's killing us, and that's why people like Just Pearly Things, people like Adam 22 can come in and take advantage. They can come in and take advantage, one because of their whiteness, and two because a lot of us are just for short-term gain and not long-term gain. So that's just my take on it.
I mean, if you look at those if you look at it from a different perspective, they see blacks as the entertainers. These
Yeah,
guys
that
are
too.
entertaining enough that people are like, okay, I'll watch them, but I'm the face of the company. I am
Hmm.
like, people are coming to see me, but they will also watch what I have to say about these people. And I mean, it's been done over and over again. It's like,
Hmm.
you got Joe Budden literally talking down on Michael B. Jordan because, oh, this dude is corny for remembering a girl who said something about him in high school. But you got these also rappers who are like, I got beef with this dude because 7 years ago he did this, and that. And it's
Hmm.
like, there's no difference between what those are. It's like, you're a sinner, bro. Like, you're like, I can't look at you as a respectable man. Like, the thing is like, okay, as grown ass man, we got beef, right? It's like,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I'm gonna say my piece and then it's it. I don't have to talk to you ever again. I don't have to explain everything again. But if I see you on the street, I don't have to say anything to you. I'm not about to fight you. I don't have anything to say. And these dudes are like holding grudges from when they were fucking kids, and then they're gonna talk about, oh, this dude's corny for doing the same thing, but he disrespected a female. And it's like, he didn't disrespect her at all, because truthfully he handled the situation very respectfully. And the worst part is, nobody was saying when she was talking about this dude again on a podcast a previous week before, like, oh yeah, this dude is corny. Like, I remember him from back in school. Like, oh, we didn't think. And that's always the people, it's always the people who don't really do anything with their lives who are always telling the people who are doing things with their lives, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they corny, like we didn't like him, blah blah blah, this and that. But now he makes multi-millions of dollars and she's on a podcast making $30,000 a year. Like, so the whole situation is backwards in general. O'Shea definitely dropped some bombs with everything that he normally says, because he's speaking from experience, and that's what I enjoy with his content, is he speaks from experience.
And he
He
cares
doesn't
about black
feature.
people a lot. Like
Yeah,
like he
I've
loves black
never
people.
seen him once say anything bad about blacks. I've seen him hold blacks accountable,
Yeah, he'll
and
criticize people. Like he'll
some
criticize
people will
us.
definitely take that as disrespect. But for me, accountability is everything for the most part. It's if you can't hold somebody accountable for their actions, then what can you do with that person? That's how I see it.
Yeah.
But without further ado, we are going to have to cut it short there. We have a lot of
Yeah.
topics that we will be discussing in the future. So if you're willing to stick around and hear from us, I guarantee you this is going to get a lot more exciting
Yeah,
because
for sure.
at this point, we've done everything that we can do to explain things in a very professional way. And now I'm just going to tell y'all how it is because I'm going to be respectful, of course, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And I'm speaking from experience, not necessarily just out the back of whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm done. I'm done. I can only preach for so long, you know. I'm not trying to hold y'all here like 7 hours like a Baptist church. I'm gonna get in, say what I gotta say, and then I know y'all got stuff to do after church. So y'all
This,
enjoy the
this
rest of y'all
guy,
day. So
this guy.
peace.
Peace out, guys.